When you're playing a Metal Gear game, you can't help but remain glued to your screen right up until the credits roll, and beyond. This, of course, is a series that has been doing post-credit sequences since the very beginning, since before they were all the rage. Each game in the series has had past credit scenes that have added more to the game's story in different ways, often in very significant manner, and a lot of these scenes, which are more often than not conversations between two characters, end up being very memorable. Here, we're going to take a look at each of Metal Gear's post-credit conversations and rank them. Number 10, Metal Gear. This was back when the series was finding its feet, so it's not surprising that in the many years since it came out, the original Metal Gear has been surpassed by essentially all of its successors. The game's post-credit sequence was, as the game itself was, simple and to the point. Metal Gear ends with Solid Snake seemingly killing off Big Boss and leaving Outer Heaven. But after its credits have rolled, the game reveals that Big Boss is still alive, and has vowed revenge against Solid Snake. Number 9, Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. Metal Gear 2's post-credit sequence is certainly much more substantial than its predecessors, with the majority of it being focused on wrapping up the game's lingering loose ends. But in the grand scheme of things, nothing of consequence happens. You do get some interesting beats with Solid Snake refusing to rejoin Foxhound, but the vast majority of what the sequence focuses on doesn't end up having much more bearing on the future installment stories. Number 8, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. Given the fact that Metal Gear Solid 4 is the last game in the series, chronologically speaking, unless you count Metal Gear Rising, it makes sense that its post-credit sequence isn't the meatiest. The game spends quite a bit of time as its story is coming to a close to wrap up the saga's long and winding story, leaving behind a relatively quieter moment for the post-credit scene. Solid Snake, or Old Snake as he's known by this point, decides to live out the remainder of his life peacefully, with Otacon and Sonny keeping him company. Sure, it's not too dramatic, but plenty of dramatic stuff has happened up until that point, so it works.
Snake, wait up! You forgot these.
No thanks. I'm quitting.
Snake!
These things will kill you.
Where will you go? Our fight is finished. There's nothing left for us to do.
No. There's one thing I still have to do. I have to see this age off. See what the future brings.
Sounds good to me. I'll go with you.
Otacon, I'm gonna be dead soon. You don't have to come.
You said it yourself, Snake. There's nothing inside you can pass on to the next generation. No genes, no memes. You're man-made. You're a beast.
I know. A blue rose. There won't be any happy Beauty and the Beast ending for me. What little time I have left will be spent living as a beast. A shadow of the inside, of the old age.
Exactly. That's why you need me. As a witness.
A witness?
Yeah. Someone on the outside to bear witness to your final days. Someone to pass on your story. Not that I'm the only witness. But I'll remember everything you were, and stick with you to the end.
Otacon.
Besides, you wouldn't let me suffer Sonny's eggs alone, would you?
Number 7, Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops. Regardless of whether or not you consider Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops part of the official Metal Gear canon, Hideo Kojima certainly doesn't, there's no denying that it does tie off its story with a solid post-credits conversation. It is once again focused on Ocelot, some of the best Metal Gear scenes tend to be. It takes a crucial step forward towards the beginning of the Patriots, which, if you consider the game canon, bridges the gap to the games that come after it in the timeline in some interesting ways.
It looks as if everything is going exactly the way you wanted it. When the DCI saw the trajectory data you supplied and found out he was the target of the nuclear strike, he brought the Philosopher's documents right to me. Yes, we should have known Jean was serious about launching those nukes. Seems our insurance policy came in handy after all. He did quite well. And now, I've got the legacy. Is that all part of your script, too? Using him in the Fox unit like that. Only you could have pulled it off. But you won't be using me anymore. Battle data. From the perfect soldier. Genes. Genome? I see. Intriguing. I'll help you with the project. But on one condition. I want him to join us. Yes, Big Boss. So that we can become the Patriots.
Number 6. Metal Gear Solid 5: Ground Zeroes. Metal Gear Solid 5: Ground Zeroes may not have been a full-blown new installment, but even though its primary purpose was to serve as a taste of the Phantom Pain, it ended up being quite a meaty experience, and it kept that up right until its post-credit sequence. It's set up before the events of Ground Zeroes, but still provides to be quite a crucial scene, with Paz relenting to Skullface in an interrogation and agreeing to tell him where Zero is. It's brief, yes, but, well, so is the game.
Except you. You met with him, face to face, in order to contact Big Boss. Tell me where he is. Where is Cypher? Where is Zero? I've never known choice. Where I was born, the language I speak, I've never had the freedom to choose for myself. But you, right now, are free. Do as you will.
This will save Big Boss.
It may.
Will you really kill Zero for me?
Not for you.
All right. Zero is...
Number 5. Metal Gear Solid 3: Snake Eater. Metal Gear Solid 3's post-credit sequence is probably among the most packed of the lot, and yes, once again, it revolves around Ocelot. The game's ending is momentous enough as it is, and then it proceeds to place an exclamation point on top of that, with the reveal that the microfilm stolen by Eva was a fake, with Ocelot revealing himself to be Adam. Of all Metal Gear games, Metal Gear Solid 3's post-credit sequence is probably the one that recontextualized the story preceding it the most.
I believe the White House will be satisfied. Khrushchev is finished. Your time has finally arrived. Yes, the American president is relying on us to keep a lid on the whole affair. We've got him by the balls. It should make a valuable trump card in future negotiations. Yes, Chief Director, of course. I'll keep the KGB informed. Yes, it's me. The boss has accomplished her mission. The Philosopher's legacy is now safely with us, in America's hands. With this money, yes, the Philosophers can finally be revived. The film we handed the Chinese was a fake. Peking must be in an uproar right about now. I'm afraid so. Only half the money has made it back to the United States. The KGB must still have part of the legacy. Yes, the weapon has been reduced to ashes. That's right. Grozny Grad has been obliterated by the Davy Crockett we brought in as well. Yes, that was the boss's work too. Speaking of which, I've obtained something from Granin that you might find interesting. It's a revolutionary new nuclear attack system. Perhaps it might just come in handy someday. Yes, we have Snake to thank for that. Khrushchev believed it as well. Yes, they bought our story. I don't think they'll be making a fuss. The secondary alert has been lifted as well. And the Soviets still haven't discovered my true identity. They have no idea that I've been triple-crossing them. I will continue my activities as a contact for the new government. Yes, it appears that no one knew that I was Adam. Of course, I am always at the CIA's disposal, Mr. Director.
Number 4. Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty. Metal Gear Solid 2 is another one of those games that already has a very packed ending, with some major revelations coming in thick and fast in its final leg. From Snake and Raiden learning about the Patriots and the extent of their control to the S3 plan's real purpose being revealed, there is a lot that happens. On top of all that, in its post-credit sequence, Otacon and Snake discover that the people they're tracking, the Wiseman's Committee, have apparently been dead for 100 years. That, of course, sets up some intriguing things that are eventually resolved in Metal Gear Solid 4.
Contains the personal data of 12 people. There was a name on it. Snake, it was one of our biggest contributors.
What's going on around here?
I don't know.
Anyway, where are they?
Well, we were right about them being on Manhattan, but
But what?
they're already dead. All 12 of them.
When did it happen?
Well, about 100 years ago.
What the hell?
Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain story has more holes than Swiss cheese, and series fans can and will talk all day about how it doesn't do a good enough job of bridging the gap to the events of the original Metal Gear. It does get a few things right though, and the post-credits conversation between Miller and Ocelot is definitely among them. Partly, it serves as a bit of a wrap-up, with Ocelot effectively recapping the game's big reveals about Big Boss and Venom Snake's identities. While at the same time, it also sets up Miller's association with Big Boss's twin sons in the game that follows the Phantom Pain in the chronology.
The real Big Boss is working separately from us to create his new nation.
New nation?
A military nation above and apart from all. The true outer heaven. Something created to maintain world balance, independent of the struggles for supremacy, for personal profit, the cycles of revenge between countries. It'll be an army, all right, but more. Big Boss is building a nation. But until it's complete, we support the other Big Boss. The Phantom carries on his legend, his meme. That is Big Boss's plan.
So that's the way it is. 9 years ago, I thought everything had been taken from me. But now I really have lost it all. The boss, and the future we were building together.
One day, the age of Big Boss's sons will arrive. They'll likely want to settle the score with him. We have to shape that age. We'll each have roles to play. Building the foundation for a revolution led by both Big Bosses, the True One and the Phantom.
No. Big Boss can go to hell. I'll make the Phantom and his son stronger to send him there. For that, I'll keep playing my role.
You know, sooner or later there will be only one boss. There's only room for one boss. His sons are fated to face each other someday too. If the day ever comes that you go back to Cypher, I'll aid the other son. And then you and I will be enemies too. One of us will have to kill the other.
Fine by me. I'll be ready for the new age. Until then, we'd better get used to coexisting.
Number 2. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. One of the reasons so many Metal Gear fans take issue with how it chooses to lead into the original Metal Gear is that for many, Peace Walker already did that perfectly. The portable title ends with Big Boss formally renaming MSF as Outer Heaven, giving a speech to his soldiers about how they'll be operating going forward. And that already did a really solid job of giving you an idea of what might eventually grow and change in the Outer Heaven we know from the original Metal Gear. In terms of bridging the gap, Peace Walker ends on a very strong note.
We need no reason to fight. We fight because we are needed. We will be the deterrent for those with no other recourse. We are soldiers without borders, our purpose defined by the era we live in. We will sometimes have to sell ourselves and services. If the times demand it, we'll be revolutionaries, criminals, terrorists, and yes, we may all be headed straight to hell. But what better place for us than this? It is our only home, our heaven, and our hell. This is Outer Heaven.
Number 1. Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 1's post-credit conversation remains an all-time great. It is the template on which most of the series based itself, and in terms of content, this sequence was never really topped. Not only is Ocelot revealed to be a double agent, the man he's reporting to turns out to be the President of the United States. Not only that, the President himself is revealed to be a secret product of the Les Infanteries project, a clone of Big Boss, just like Solid and Liquid Snake. And that, of course, leads directly into Solid as Snake emerging as the big bad in Metal Gear Solid 2. All in all, it's one hell of a post-credit sequence.
Yes, sir. The entire unit was wiped out. Those two are still alive. The Vector? Yes, sir. Fox Die should become activated soon, right on schedule. Yes, sir, I recovered all of Rex's dummy warhead data. No, sir, my cover is intact. Nobody knows who I really am. Yes, the DARPA chief knew my identity, but he's been disposed of. Yes, the inferior one was the winner after all. That's right. Until the very end, Liquid thought he was the inferior one. Yes, sir, I agree completely. It takes a well-balanced individual such as yourself to rule the world. No, sir. No one knows that you were the third one, Solidus. What should I do about the woman? Yes, sir. I'll keep her under surveillance. Yes. Thank you. Goodbye, Mr. President.
Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, hit that bell, subscribe, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.